Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to those of you around the world. Welcome to the daily Trade the Chain crypto update, where we give you everything you need to know for the next 24 hours and hopefully the next few days. Today is Wednesday, January 24th, and we are midway through the week. Does look like some of the selling has slowed down. I did see, Grayscale was still transferring a little bit more GBTC. They've been doing, seems like almost $500 million a day. But fortunately, the market is absorbing it a little bit better over the past, 24, 48 hours. Total crypto market cap up to 1.56 trillion, Bitcoin up a couple percentage points, ETH up 1.5, Bitcoin daily sentiment getting a little bit better, but still neutral to bearish. Same for ETH. Total tweet volume still down. Total trading volume around that 60 billion. Average daily sentiment has picked up. Remember, it was mid 40s yesterday. We've got some crap coins running pretty hard. Nothing too notable. Some old school coins. LSK, I think that's Helium. XEM, that's an old one. XVG up a couple of percentage points. RPL, MXC, hit or HT. So that's also interesting. 3 exchange tokens are up: MXC, FTT, and Huobi token. So maybe, check exchange tokens out for, some possible outsized moves in the future. Stablecoin exchange flows do look pretty good so far. Bitcoin daily sentiment, of course, still flat. Not much has changed. Starting to curl up a little bit. So definitely, hopeful, but still need to see across that 50 level. And mostly the same for ETH, curling up a little bit, but still need to cross that 50 level and hold it. See, did it here, but it did not hold. So hoping we actually see this hold over the next couple of days. And remember, before we dig into equities, tomorrow is GDP, expecting 2% GDP for Q4 2023, and then Friday's PCE. We'll of course talk about that again tomorrow, but this will be the big kind of data print for equities. It'll be obviously risk as a whole, in my opinion, but mostly equities. So looking at DXY, we did jump up. We broke that high, but we closed below the high. We all actually closed below the 12-hour estimated 200 moving average. So again, at 12-hour estimated 200 moving average is acting as strong resistance. We did sell off pretty hard, but now we're just kind of back into this range. So it does look like a bit of a deviation here. So obviously looks like we're still going to be stuck kind of in here until we get a big move from PCE. Of course, if PCE comes in as expected, I would expect that move to be down, but still important to watch out, because if we do, eclipse that, either 103.6 or at minimum the 12-hour estimated 200 moving average, and this starts creeping higher, definitely could get a little hairy for risk assets, at least in the short term. So we definitely want to see this drop lower. Again, Friday probably going to be our catalyst. Well, I was a little bit wrong on equities yesterday, because remember, we had these lines here. We were like, this is a simple little range. We'll probably just be doing something like this. So I was kind of thinking we'd be a little bit more flat heading into the end of the week, but obviously, had a fantastic evening and morning this morning, and we're now back to that 40. We're now up to 4,900. So I'm gonna get rid of these lines. I think it's straightforward. I did say 4,900 would be kind of a natural target, because the market just likes those round numbers. So that's exactly where it tagged. It's going to try and break above 4,900 and move higher. But if we do, if we can't break above 4,900, we may go back down to 4,870, maybe 4,880 at the worst. And then, of course, if we break above 4,900, I think, just kind of, very simplistically, 49.50 makes sense. Maybe 49.25. I think you can just literally look at this as like 25, 50s, 100s for the time being. And then, of course, when you get weird candles or whatever, and you get some sort of doji, then you can kind of mark a local top and figure out your local range and all that fun stuff. So right now, equities do look great, and I think it should continue to look great as long as we get what we want for GDP and PCE. If we do not get what we want, this will probably sell off. But right now, things do look pretty good. So for Bitcoin, strong little recovery yesterday. We talked about, possible bottom here, 38K being a very critical level. So deviated that to, 39.5 support. So good start, but we are getting sold off, right back here at this low from the 19th. So what we want to do is, of course, get above 40.2, get above 40.2. You can make it to 48 or 40.8. get above 40.8, you can probably make it to 41.5. But again, we do have this 1 hour estimated 200 moving average to likely act as resistance, which it has been since it broke it all the way back in January 12th. But what I did talk about yesterday is breaking above the weekly VWAP, and it does look like we are above the weekly VWAP. Now, it's not a full confirmation, but if you are taking a long based on the idea that we've now broken back above the weekly VWAP, you have very defined risk here. And I want to make sure, that's fib, yeah. Here we go, long position. So if you are longing this, I'd say maybe your first target would be the 1 hour estimated 200 moving average, very similar to what happened back here on January 16th. And then you'd be risking, right down here. So you'd be risking 0.77 to make 2.82, possibly more upside, obviously, if this does break above the 1 hour estimated 200 moving average. So right now, in terms of a trade, this is the best opportunity we've had in a while, unless you've been looking for shorts. And I think shorts are just a little bit too tricky in the current market environment. So right now, decent long on Bitcoin, in my opinion. Get rid of that. And then, obviously, if we can get above this level, natural resistance will be 41.5. And then above 41.5, you can obviously start to crawl your way back up to 42. The other significance of 41.5 is it was the low from January 12th down here. So I'd like to see this, we obviously do have new yearly lows down here, but I'd like to see it get back above this low because this low was significant. You had a strong bounce, then we broke under it, and then it started to act as resistance. So now I've confirmed this as resistance, and we'd like to flip it to support. So ideally, we put in a higher high on this lower term market structure, and then we get a higher low from this low, and then we start to kind of just build back up. So where I'd look for a strong rejection is the 1 hour estimated 200 moving average. And then if we end up, not even making it up there and dropping back below the weekly VWAP, then we may be down for, we may be heading down for another leg. But I think in the medium term, as we look to PCE, we should see some sort of relief on the chart here. So I do kind of like the idea of 41.5 being a target, maybe all the way up to 43. But obviously time will tell. So I like where we're at now, but below the weekly VWAP, we may take another leg down. As long as we hold above it, we should be able to target 41.5 or higher. Looking at ETH, still below the weekly VWAP, still very far off from the 1 hour estimated 200 moving average, but price action not looking too bad. Got higher highs, some higher lows down here on the lower time frame. So we need to get above 2254, 55. Then we can make it back up to 2300. But right underneath 2300 to 2290 is going to be that weekly VWAP. So definitely want to look out for that. But kind of same trade for ETH above that weekly VWAP. I'm definitely interested in a long higher. And then if it if that does not happen, then I probably do not want to take a trade. If you break back beneath this 2225 level, you're probably going to drop to 2160, and then we outlined some support levels at 2115, and then obviously 2100 yesterday. 2100 is my big line in the sand. So even if we do take another drop, I really do want to see 2100 hold, or things are definitely going to get precarious in the near future. So again, general thesis has been if equities are rising, I'm not too concerned. Bitcoin, nice little recovery here. Let's see if we can get back up to 41.5. ETH, let's see if we can get back up to 2300. And if we can, then things look a lot better. I did tell the TTC community, after yesterday's dip, if you are entering, some dry powder here, not the worst idea in the world. Could see another leg down, but all in all, you're never going to time the absolute bottom. You're never going to time the absolute top. Very, very rarely do those things happen. So if you're starting to enter after Bitcoin is down 20%, you're playing the right type of game, in my opinion. Could it drop a little bit lower, and should you always have a little bit of dry powder saved? Yes. So, I'm not saying this is the bottom. I'm saying I think we are close to the bottom, and any buys here will make you pleased in 3 to 6 month time frame, let's call it. So with that being said, good luck, happy trading. See everybody tomorrow.